So we're going to add a leaf to a curl. Now, it's the same thing as we did last week with a flower. What I want you to think about with this leaf, though, is as you come in and you come back out over the top of the curl, right? So you come on the outside, because that's how it's easiest to travel. You have to start to think when you're doing this, you have to start to think a little bit ahead of where you are in the moment, right? When we're driving a car, we're not looking at the front of our hood, at least I hope we're not. We're looking down the road a little bit, right? So we know where to go. Eyes up, we're looking ahead. So where I decide to stop and drop this leaf on this curl is going to determine where I'm going next, what direction I'm going next. So the way I should have said it actually is you can determine where you want to go by how far out of the curl you come when you make the leaf. You are also going to decide which direction you want to go by doing one side of the leaf first or another. I know that sounded complicated. Let me show you. And that's my fault. It's not complicated. So when I did this one, and can you see? All right. So if I'm coming in my curl and I want my next sort of one to sort of come up here, as I come out, I've got my leaf is facing in this direction. I do the underside first and then come over, pop my little vein in, and then I travel with my echo over that way. That automatically puts me on the trajectory to come up this way and follow around and do a curl that way. If I wanted to do the same thing but come sort of either this way or down here, as I've come out of my curl, I've stopped a little bit sooner. See, I'm here, I came all the way out to here, and on this one I only came out to here. I've popped the leaf in there exactly the same way. I've done this side first, so I end up on this side of the leaf. So I'm still coming out of the curl, but instead of being way up here, sort of on a path to go that way, I'm here. So I could actually I could either come up and swing it here, or I could come and change direction here and sort of come down and around, right? This one here puts me behind my curl. So if I come in on the curl, come out on the outside, I've popped my leaf on the top, done my vein, and then I'm all the way over here. So naturally, I'm going to want to swing my next one up and back there. Now these ones down here, I've done them in the same, everything's facing the same way, but I've gone on the opposite side of the leaf to stitch it. So I end up on the other side. I'll just explain it. Come in. As I come out, on this one, I came out and I did this side of the leaf first, right? And then by going that way, it put me up there. On this one, I've come in and I've done the leaf here and then come back down here. So now my line is going that way instead of that way. Same thing with this one. All I've done is flip the side that I start the leaf on. So as I come out, instead of doing that side and bringing my travel line out here, I've stopped, swung my S curve in, brought my leaf in there with my vein, and I've headed that way. That's going to put me in here somewhere, which would then make me want to go sort of down in that way. This one, same thing. The leaf's pretty much in the same direction. It's still facing up. This curl is still facing this way. But as I come out, I go past it, do this S curve, come in, do my vein, pop out, and now I'm sliding down this way instead of heading that way. I know it's a lot to think about, but once you start doing it, you're actually going to start doing it subconsciously, and it won't seem like so much to think about. You'll just be sort of doing it. You'll get comfortable. Again, it's kind of like driving. You know, you're driving along and all of a sudden you get somewhere and you think, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what I was thinking about because I don't really remember getting here. that kind of thing. You'll start doing it naturally and without having to overthink everything. The secret is in the doodling. Just doodle it. It's just paper. It's just a pen, right? Keep doing it and experiment and flip them. Okay. All right. So now this is actually pretty much life size. All right. I know it's kind of hard sometimes when you see, like in the booklet, when you see all the drawing and the drawing is all like this big. A couple of people have asked me, you know, am I supposed to doodle at the same scale as I would stitch? No. I know that in the drawings everything looks dense, but I'm only working on an 8 by 10 inch piece of paper. When I'm drawing on something this big, it allows me to draw bigger and have more elements in it because I have a bigger space to draw on. But this actual size, so if you look at my hand, there's about my fist, that's a really nice life size size for these curls. This design is quite dense, but it would travel across a good size quilt and not be too much quilting, depending of course on the piecing. But it's not too tight either. I like more quilting than less quilting, but that's just me as well. So I started way up here, and I came into my curl, came out. Just like in the first page there, as I came out, I only come to here because I actually wanted the next curl to come straight down and be down here. So I swung in, did my leaf, angled in my vein. Now here, I was headed this way, but I didn't want to keep going that way. So all I did was stop, change directions, and come this way, just like we did last week with the curls, when we were just doing curls. Not every single curl has to have a leaf on it, and you can change directions whenever you like. As I did that, I popped in a little curl here, and there's actually another curl here with no leaf attached. I came out and changed direction, popped into there to just sort of do a little bit of an echo, and then went up, and then I end up over here. So on and so forth. There is a drawing in the handout that talks about this. I want to expand on and get into the spine and the feathers and the shapes and all that kind of stuff. So that's all the time we're going to spend on this. Otherwise, we'll all be here till midnight. But that's a great design. And it looks good and it's easy. You can do it tiny, like a little filler. You can do it big as an edge to edge. Whatever, just make it work within your space. I mentioned last week when I was talking about, I didn't really talk about it. I said the term spatial awareness, and somebody said, what do you mean by that? I know where I'm going, and I know how much room I have and what I want to fill in that space. It just comes as part of the, the scale. So as I start to get more into here and I've got this, I wanted to come this way, I'm aware of how much space is there. So I start just sort of naturally poking in a little echo and a bounce out because, maybe I know instinctively that I don't have enough space in here for too much. So it got a smaller curl. I didn't put the leaf in there because I knew I didn't have the space. So it's just sort of, as you're dancing around the quilt, you're going to be aware of what spaces are coming, what spaces you've left, as you sort of dance away from your area and you kind of start to come back in that meander fashion. You'll start to know, okay, I've got a little bit of room there. I'll just pop a curl in and pop back out. Does that make sense? Yeah? Does that make sense to you? Okay. I think that's the best way that I can really explain it, and it will come. If you haven't got it yet, it will come. The more you doodle and play in your sketchbooks, it'll start to come. We're going to work off a spine. We are not going to do big, flourishing border designs tonight. But I do want you to start to understand what it means to work off a spine And what I'm going to show you is going to work with any design. Curls, leaves, feathers. Look at some of my videos. I've created the most wacky designs popping off a spine. And really, your imagination is the only limit that you have. All right.